Hello and welcome to my Yu-Gi-Oh channel. So it's happened, it's finally happened. We've got the rules to do with Maximum, which is a new concept to be introduced to Rush Duels. So we want to know what is a Maximum monster. These are monsters with the card text Maximum written on them. They're also referred to as Maximum monsters. A bit like how you've got legend cards, they've got the little golden lettering saying legend on them. And they summon a special monster by using 3 specific Maximum monster cards. As you can see in the picture above, that's an example of how this happens. So how do you Maximum summon? From what it understands, first you need to assemble the 3 Maximum monster cards you need in your hand. Second is, during your main phase, you must special summon those 3 specific monsters at the same time, from the hand to your field. If you already control monsters on your side of the field, you can send them all to the graveyard to Maximum summon. And here's the Maximum mode's Ultra Power. So Ultra 1, they can only be in attack position. Monsters in Maximum mode do not have a defense stat because of their overwhelming attack. The purpose is to crush your opponent with that overwhelming attack. Ultra 2, their overwhelming attack, if they're in Maximum mode, their attack power is the Maximum attack printed on the center monster. And Ultra 3, the third, which is related to monster effects. You can use all of the monster effects written in each card's Maximum mode. So the features of Maximum mode are, when referring to the name, level, attribute, and type of a monster in Maximum mode, you need to check the center card. So everything goes around that middle card to do with effects and concentrating on what they do. The 3 monsters in Maximum mode are treated as one card. Please note you cannot line up Maximum mode monsters with other monsters. When you have a Maximum mode monster, you contribute a Maximum mode monster to tribute summon a level 5 or 6 monster from your hand. If you do, all 3 Maximum monsters you control are sent to the graveyard. If you use a Maximum monster as a regular monster, you can normal summon, normal set, or special summon them based on the stats written on the card. However, please note that its Maximum mode effects cannot be used. You can't go into Maximum mode by summoning all 3 Maximum monsters to the field. You must always use all 3 cards in your hand to Maximum summon if you wish to use Maximum mode. And you can activate the effects written on each card once per turn. These are continuous effects that continue to apply even without declaring an activation. However, even if you have 3 effects, a Maximum mode monster is treated as one card, so it can only attack once per turn because their attack is so high. Let's deal a ton of damage with one attack. Okay, so from what I've understood, this is the first time I'm reviewing this, so these are my straightforward opinions on this. The benefits of the Maximum mode are they have specifically massive attack points based on the centered card. They have the benefits of using multiple effects of the other monsters you have, so you can essentially use all 3 effects, and they can be used once per turn each, provided there aren't any supposed limitations to them. And of course, they have that kind of flexibility of just, you can use them as normal monsters if you want to. If you're not looking at the Maximum mode, you can just treat them as normal. The problems with these cards are they need to be very specific cards to summon. If you don't have all 3 cards in your hand, you cannot perform the Maximum mode. If the monsters are, or some of them are already on the field and one's in your hand, you cannot go into the Maximum mode. You have to find a means of getting those cards back into your hand in order to do that. And the last big problem, I would say, is to do with the fact it can only end up being one attack. So you cut off all of your other monsters' attacks in exchange for that one attack. That's putting all your eggs in one basket. If your opponent has anything that can activate and destroy those cards, I don't know how those cards are actually going to interact in terms of disruption. Because if it's a case of if they're in Maximum mode and it just gets rid of everything, that's a concern. Much like if you think of an Xyz monster, when they go to the graveyard, their Xyz materials go with them. Is it potentially the same thing where you get the same response since it's in Maximum mode? All 3 of your monsters go, or is it the case of only the Maximum monster, or because it's the one that's attacking, is the one responsible for being destroyed by that spell or monster or trap effect. There are still questions as to how this is going to interact within reality and what it's going to do within real life. But I think it's a good idea. It's a mechanic that can be divided and separated from all of the other series, much like some of the other series introduced different themes. You had the Excel synchros for synchro monsters, you had the rank up aspects for Xyz monsters, you have various forms of upgrades for all the different extra deck monsters, and even for some of these newer monsters that are introduced within Rush Duels, just to separate them from the original series and to make them a bit more unique. My concerns are, until we get a full Q&A, I think people are going to be very confused about how this works. As someone who has been playing the game since Metal Raiders, even for me, this is a little bit of a concern, just because until they give us clarification, even these rulings aren't enough. The questions I've asked now, could you honestly say in the comments you could answer them? I think not. I think even professional YouTubers, those who've been doing it for a long time, will still be confused about the direction of how these cards work. So we're just waiting on Konami. This is just the little side release. Of course, the episode with Maxim mode has already been released in Japan. It's already been done there, and then we'll get the TCG version when they start animating and distributing to the English-speaking countries, America, the UK, and so on and so forth. We'll get probably further clarifications down the line. This is just an introductory statement for them. So, are you guys excited for these cards? Do you think the idea of a Maxim mode is good? Or do you think this is very gimmicky and it's not going to see that much play? Whatever you think, leave those comments down below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe for more daily Yu-Gi-Oh content.